Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke. Every single 40 seconds. And the difference between walking out of the hospital on your own 2 feet or never walking again often comes down to what the people in the room did in those first few minutes before the ambulance arrived. Most of them did it wrong. Not because they didn't care. They cared deeply. They panicked. They rushed. They gave water. They propped someone up. They gave aspirin thinking it would help the way it helps a heart attack. And in doing so, they accidentally made a dangerous situation worse. Today, I want to make sure you never make that mistake, because what you do or don't do in those 3 minutes before help arrives could be the difference between full recovery and permanent disability. I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell, and this channel brings you the clearest, most evidence-based health information available, specifically designed for adults over 60. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that now so you don't miss videos like this one. Now let's get into exactly what you need to know. Here is what the research tells us, and it is sobering. According to a landmark analysis published in Stroke, the Journal of the American Heart Association, every single minute that passes during an active stroke, the brain loses approximately 1.9 million neurons. Nearly 2 million brain cells gone every 60 seconds. Researchers have a phrase for this: time is brain, and they mean it literally. But here is something most people don't know, and it changes everything about how you respond. The golden window for the most effective stroke treatment, a clot-dissolving medication called TPA, is 4.5 hours from the moment symptoms begin. Not from when the ambulance arrives, from when symptoms first start. That means the clock starts the second you notice something is wrong, which means what you do right now, before emergency services even pull into your driveway, genuinely matters. So let me walk you through what I call the 3-minute stroke response. It has 2 parts: what you must do and what you must never do. Both are equally important, and both will surprise you. The very first step, and this takes about 30 seconds, is recognition. You need to know you're looking at a stroke, not a dizzy spell, not low blood sugar, not plain exhaustion. The tool most emergency physicians now recommend is called Be Fast. That stands for balance, eyes, face, arms, speech, and time. Let me break that down quickly. Has the person suddenly lost their balance with no clear reason? Are they saying their vision has gone blurry or they're seeing double? Is one side of their face drooping? Ask them to smile and watch if one corner falls. Can they raise both arms and hold them there, or does one drift downward on its own? Is their speech suddenly slurred or impossible to understand? If you answer yes to even one of those questions, you call 911 immediately. Not after you get them settled. Not after you call their son or daughter. Right now, 911 first. Here's what shocked me when I reviewed the research on this. A study published in the Journal of Stroke and Cerebrovascular Diseases found that Be Fast identifies approximately 97% of strokes accurately. The older FAST method, just face, arms, speech, and time, missed roughly 1 in 5 strokes. It specifically missed strokes involving the back part of the brain, where balance problems and sudden vision changes are often the very first signs. Most people dismiss those symptoms entirely. That dismissal costs lives. So you've called 911. The dispatcher is on the phone. Now what do you actually do? This is where the 3-minute technique begins in full, and there are 4 specific steps while help is on the way. First, write down the time. I know that sounds almost too simple, but the exact moment you notice the first symptom is information the emergency team will urgently need the second they walk through your door. It determines which treatments are possible and how aggressively the stroke team can act. If the person was asleep and woke up with symptoms, write down the last time you saw them acting completely normally. That becomes the official last known well time in their medical record. Write it down. This is not a minor detail. Second, help the person lie down on their side. If they're conscious, guide them gently to the floor. Turn them onto their left or right side and place something soft under their head. This position is critical because stroke affects the muscles that control swallowing. If the person vomits, which can happen, Lying on their side prevents them from inhaling it into their lungs, which can trigger a serious secondary complication. Do not prop them up in a recliner. Do not seat them on a couch. Horizontal, on their side. Third, and I cannot stress this enough, give them nothing by mouth. No water, no juice, no medication. Nothing. The swallowing reflex may be severely impaired, and what feels like a kind, calming gesture can instead cause the liquid to enter the lungs. This is a preventable complication that makes an already life-threatening situation dramatically worse. Now here is the specific mistake that most well-meaning people make, and I want you to lock this into your memory right now. Do not give aspirin. For a heart attack, aspirin is often life-saving because it helps interrupt clot formation. So people assume the same logic applies to stroke. It does not. Strokes come in two distinct types. The most common type, ischemic stroke, is caused by a clot blocking blood flow to the brain. But roughly 15% of strokes are hemorrhagic. They're caused by a blood vessel rupturing and bleeding directly into brain tissue. If you give aspirin to someone having a hemorrhagic stroke, you are actively worsening the bleeding. And you cannot determine from the outside which type someone is having. Only a CT scan can tell you that. So the answer is clear. Give nothing until paramedics arrive. I want to tell you about a woman named Dorothy, 71 years old. Dorothy's husband Raymond was watching the evening news when she noticed his words were coming out completely jumbled, and his right arm was hanging at his side. Dorothy called 911 immediately. She'd seen a stroke awareness flyer at her cardiologist's office, but while she waited, she helped Raymond sit upright in his recliner, gave him his daily aspirin tablet, and brought him water because he kept saying he was thirsty. She did every single thing out of genuine love and care. Raymond, it turned out, had a hemorrhagic bleed. The aspirin Dorothy gave him complicated his recovery and extended his hospital stay by nearly 2 weeks. Dorothy didn't make a mistake out of ignorance. She made it out of love, without the right information. That's exactly why this video exists. The fourth step in your 3-minute technique is this: stay calm and stay with them. Talk to them. Hold their hand if you can. Tell them help is on the way. Your calm, steady presence is not a small thing. It has measurable physiological effects. Emotional distress in bystanders directly affects the stress response in patients. Panic elevates blood pressure. Elevated blood pressure during an active stroke significantly worsens brain injury. Keep the room quiet. Turn off the television. Keep other people from crowding in. Be calm in that room. It matters more than most people realize. Let me pause here for a moment. Have you ever witnessed a stroke? In a family member, a neighbor, someone in a public place? Comment below and tell me what happened. Sharing those real experiences helps the entire community prepare. There is one final don't I want to address, because I hear it constantly. Do not drive them to the hospital yourself. The impulse is completely understandable. You have a car, the hospital is nearby, you want to move. But here is what changes when an ambulance comes. Paramedics can begin supportive care immediately. They communicate your loved one's condition to the ER team in advance, so the stroke team is assembled and waiting. And they can transport legally and safely in ways you cannot while you're focused on the road. Multiple studies published in Neurology and Stroke consistently show that patients arriving by ambulance receive faster, better coordinated treatment than those arriving by personal vehicle. Call 911. Let the professionals do exactly what they are trained for. A 68-year-old man named Franklin learned this the right way. Franklin's wife, Margaret, noticed he was stumbling and couldn't see clearly from his right eye. She recognized 2 Be Fast warning signs: balance and eyes, and called 911 within 60 seconds. She helped Franklin gently to the floor, turned him onto his side, wrote the exact time on the notepad she keeps beside the phone, and stayed on with the dispatcher the entire time. She gave paramedics the written time the moment they arrived. Franklin received TPA at the hospital 53 minutes after symptoms began. He walked out 6 days later with only minor effects in one hand. His neurologist told Margaret that her response was clinically textbook. Franklin is back to gardening and back to his grandchildren. Here is your complete 3-minute stroke response to write down right now. When you see any Be Fast warning sign, call 911 immediately. While you're on with the dispatcher, write down the exact time symptoms were first noticed. Help the person lie on their side on the floor with something soft under their head. Give them absolutely nothing by mouth. No water, no aspirin, no medication whatsoever. Stay calm, stay close, and keep the environment quiet. Do not drive them to the hospital yourself. When paramedics arrive, hand them the written time first. That is your entire protocol. After this video, take a photo of that list or write it on a notepad and put it somewhere visible in your home. A refrigerator magnet works perfectly. In a crisis, your memory under stress is not reliable. Having it written down in plain sight could save someone's life. Now I want to hear from you. Did you know that giving aspirin during a stroke was actually dangerous? Comment, "Learned this today," if this changed something you believed. Comment, "Already knew," if you were ahead of the curve. And if you have a spouse, parent, sibling, or neighbor who needs to see this, please share it with them right now. This is one of those videos worth passing on. I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell. If today's video gave you something genuinely useful, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. In our next video, we're going to cover the silent early warning signs of stroke that can appear days, sometimes even weeks, before a major event strikes. Signs that are almost always dismissed as something minor, and that could give you the chance to intervene before a stroke ever happens. That one could be the most important video I've made this year. I'll see you there. Take care of yourself and the people you love.